Hey, I want to share a story with you guys. A number of years ago, we were doing gatherings here outside of Washington, D.C. in Virginia, and we had nowhere this particular year to do our gathering. We were searching every venue that we could think of. We had thousands of people coming, and it was a serious dilemma. And right in the middle of it, we had a dream. And in the dream, we were in a 5,000 person circus tent, and we knew the name of the guy that owned the tent in the dream, but we had never met him in real life. It's a real guy in a real tent, but never met the guy. So fast forward a couple of weeks, out of the blue, this man calls us, never having met us. He goes, "Hey, I know you don't know me, but the Holy Spirit told me to call you. What are we supposed to do?" And our whole team is completely blown away. I mean, you have to imagine. The guy brings the 5,000 person circus tent, sets it up on a farm in Virginia for about 3 days. And the reason I'm telling you this is that the second time we did it, there was this older man, he was in his 80s, he pulls us into this side tent and he goes, "You're going to be part of gatherings of tents across America." He says, "The youth of America are gonna gather." He goes, "It's gonna be like a Holy Spirit Woodstock." He said, "It's gonna be music, it's gonna be worship and prayer. It's a new Jesus movement." It's the language that this guy used with us. And he goes, "This Porta Johns and hot dog stands beyond your wildest imagination." And it wasn't about the tents or even the gatherings, but it was like a festival of the presence of God that's gonna fill the earth. Now that's an amazing story, and actually some of you know we went to the National Mall and in the past few years and saw 1,700 worship groups gather in tents 24/7. Amazing miracles, amazing things that Jesus did. But here's what's even more powerful than that story or the dreams or what this older man shared with us. What's even more powerful is when you discover that in Jesus' narrative, in the scriptures, he tells us there's a festival of singing and music and the presence of God that's gonna fill cities before Jesus comes back. He actually puts it in the narrative. Let me read you one of the verses that says this. Isaiah chapter 42, verse 10. "Sing to the Lord a new song, his praise from the ends of the earth." And then he talks about those who go down to the sea, all that fills it, the coastlands, those are the big cities and their inhabitants, the desert and its cities. And he says the villages and even the top of mountains, it says, "Let them shout for joy." And then in verse 13, "And the Lord goes out like a mighty man, like a man of war. He stirs up his zeal. He cries out. He shouts aloud." This narrative is in God's heart. His plan, his blueprint is to fill cities, fill regions where they're coming together around the presence of God. There is going to be songs and new sounds, and the presence of God himself is going to inhabit that and fill cities. I'm talking about changing the atmosphere of our campuses where the joy of the Lord confronts every other thing. We're talking about a breakthrough in the hearts of men and women in cities and campuses. And it's great to have a story. It's great to have a little bit of testimony of what God has done. But what makes me more excited than my story is that Jesus put it in his narrative. And what I want to tell you is this. God says he inhabits the praises of his people. He's going to come to cities and campuses near you, and he's going to move in the hearts of men and women. And there's a song and a sound and a public expression of God's presence that's going to change the atmosphere. And I want to invite you to be a part of this move of God that's coming in our lifetime.